in the common land, playing songs of hope, playing songs of peace. They're the songs of every man. God is watching us. God is watching us. God is watching us from a distance.
Hey, everybody, Paul as well with you. It's good to be with you once again on this YouTube Live from a distance. So again, great to spend this time with you, and we're excited to have some visitors with us here, which we'll introduce here shortly. But with that, Monsignor, do you want to say hello?
Hey, good evening, everyone. Glad to be here with you. And I'm sure, like me, you're all waiting to see who will be the next president. And so we're praying that God would direct all of us to understand that when a decision is made and our people have spoken with their votes, then we have to get together as a nation. There's been a lot of anxiety in one form or another, and this pandemic hasn't helped at all. But we still have to try to help each other out and to make sure that we're a one nation under God, and that we believe and enforce the whole idea of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That's what we're built on, and we can help each other if we start to get along with each other, brothers and sisters, and avoid all this darkness that has seemed to come over so many of our cities for fear and sometimes for arguments with one another and for misunderstandings, and then sometimes even rejecting another person's view. But that's not what we believe as Catholics, and that's not the Christian way. So whatever happens, it's part of divine providence, and we put our trust in God, and then we give it our best to bring good example and civility and courtesy and love to everyone we meet. So I think we'll pray that in the next couple hours or next couple of days we have some clarity, and that we can then get on with the business of being one nation under God. So, Father, you pray tonight too. We'll both. We have some young people here going to tell us how to pray with a new spirit, and that's what makes us happy.
That's great, definitely. Yep, thank you. Wonderful. So yeah, we'll introduce our guests here, like I said, shortly. As always, feel free to chime in with your comments, questions, things you want to discuss in general, or obviously for our visitors as well. Always happy to visit in that way, and obviously part of the reason for the YouTube Live here is just to kind of check in with all of you and to see if there's anything that you want to talk about or any questions, again, church, parish, whatever that might be. But before we invite our visitors here, want to go through just a little bit of parish news. As always, lots more is happening than I'm speaking to here, but very lots going on, I guess. And it's been, again, great to see so many people coming to Mass at both parishes. It's wonderful, just again, as for many months now, to offer the sacraments and to see all of you. And I know at St. Timothy's this last weekend, we had overflow once again at basically all the Masses, except for the Saturday night one. Just want you, I know there's probably some frustration having to go to church basements, and especially when we have special events, there's we need to reserve pews and whatever else it adds to the challenges with given the restrictions with the coronavirus. But so thanks. My point is, thanks for your patience. We are aware, obviously, it's we want to be able to accommodate as many as we can within the guidelines, of course, and are hoping that we can do that, and are aware of obviously the frustration that can cause. So it's wonderful to see so many of you coming to Mass, coming to the sacraments. I would say the 4:30 Mass is, generally speaking, the least well attended of the three at St. Timothy's, that is. So, you know, that's always an option. Occasionally that does fill up as well, but that's always an option in that way. So, we're in the month of November, so it's a month of praying for the dead. We had, of course, All Souls Day on Monday, had the Mass there, but just want to, of course, remind us that it's time to be mindful of the dead, that communion that we have that transcends death, and a special month for us to be mindful of praying for our deceased loved ones. Beyond that, again, things are ramping up. Youth group events happening, which we'll talk to our visitors here shortly. We are blessed to have with us this evening Jace and Balin Wagner. So Balin is the youth director here at St. Timothy's, and Jace is her husband and helps out with the youth group. Again, very blessed to have them both in that way. We are hoping to have Allie from St. Ignatius in the future. She wasn't able to join us tonight because of youth group promotion activities happening at St. Ignatius, but we will look to have her to talk to us about St. Ignatius youth events going forward. So with that, I will have Balin and Jace take a seat, and we'll talk to them this evening.
Well, we have Jace and Balin and Cora. Cora, she's the next member of the youth group.
Sounds great.
She just came to check it out to see if it's going to make her feel at home.
Perfect.
And as soon as she saw you, she started crying,
Yeah.
but was crying for joy.
There we go.
So we're happy to have both the three of you here, and blessed. And tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, I'm Balin. I'm the youth minister here at St. Tim's. I don't even know how long I've been youth minister here. I think it's been 4 years.
I think 4.
I think this is 4 years. Although 2020 feels like it's been like 10 years.
Yeah.
But we have both lived in the area all our life. I grew up coming to St. Tim's. Grew up coming through the youth group here, going through the school. So I'm very familiar with the parish and really happy to have been able to continue here as an adult. Jace grew up.
I was born and raised Lutheran at Holy Cross down the road.
Right down the road.
Mm-hmm. And then when I started dating Balin, a few months into our relationship, I went to mass with her and just fell in love with it, loved the tradition, everything. So decided to convert before we got married.
Beautiful.
Yeah, and just been staying in the area ever since, and we love it.
Yeah. Well, it's like a little bit of Catholic wonderland here, I think. You know,
Mhm.
you have so many young people and a lot of children, and there's at Mass I can attest that, Father, you should never have problem recruiting people for the choir as soon as they get a little bigger. But it's a great thing to see, because that brings life into the parish. And of course, you're involved with the youth, and that's one of the most important, I think, apostolic works that can be done, especially in our own day, because the future of the church is in the hand of the youngest, in the hands of the youngest. And it's great that we have people like yourselves dedicated and wanting to bring the message of the gospel and to young people and make it come alive. And that has its own, how would you say, great energy, and it can give you a lot of satisfaction, but it also can challenge you, because every time when you come at this, young people, their way of understanding it all changes quickly, and to keep their attention, and to keep their interest and enthusiasm, you have to have many talents, and I know you do, but you have to kind of always be on the top of the game, if you will, because you know, it's not easy to keep people's attention, and we have so much competition with the media and all those different means of communication that we have, that people can get distracted very easily. So to just hold their attention, and that sometimes it has to do with just the way you present the joy of the faith that you're living, and that's an attractive thing in and of itself. You told me a little before that when you met your future wife, that it was coming to church with her that first touched your heart to kind of want to join this faith community. And that's how it happens in so many ways. That's what the Lord called his disciples and the apostles. That's he called Peter and Andrew. One brought the other, and then it was a personal, individual invitation on the part of the Lord to come, and he was so powerful and attractive for those people that they dropped everything and came. And so it have to be a kind of a magnetic personality, and it is because it's the Lord. But then your responsibility and our responsibility is somehow to bring that enthusiasm into our own lives so we can bring a lot of young people who are here to come closer to Jesus, because that's what it's about. And I'm preaching to the choir a bit by telling you people that, but it's a good thing. It gets me wound up. But Father, tell me a little bit about how you've got to know these two great people.
Yeah, well, that was they're both from the area, and Balin, maybe she can speak to this too, but she attended the youth ministry here at St. Timothy's, and obviously know her and her family very well, and these kind of things. Maybe too, if you want to just share, we'll talk more about St. Timothy's and what's happening here, but Monsignor talked about maybe the joys and challenges. Maybe if you want to just elaborate on, from your point of view, what are some of the joys and perhaps some of the challenges of youth ministry in general, and maybe at St. Timothy's as well. You want to start and just again, joys and challenges.
Definitely, there's a lot of joys, especially at St. Tim's and St. Ignatius, but youth ministry in general that I've seen a lot of places. It's just very clear that kids right now are very open. They're very hungry. They're very, they're searching for something that's like, it's so sold to them in the media and on, all these social media platforms that we're all missing something, and there's like something that we need to fill ourselves up. And what I've been just like awestruck with the kids at St. Tim's and St. Ignatius is their receptiveness to, as soon as they see Jesus, as soon as they encounter him, it's amazing to watch how quickly they shift right away. Like, I always say, like, my job is so great. My job is so almost like easy because the kids here are so incredible that I just kind of have to be here to say hi and greet them at the door. And then once they get past me and they see, they have that experience in adoration, or they, start to learn about our faith, right away, they are all in. And that's just the biggest joy right now, is seeing that with kids, that they know they're looking for something, and as soon as they see Jesus, they're just ready to jump on and to commit to that. And, obviously there's frustrations, there's challenges. Right now with COVID, the biggest challenge is, even getting that time with kids, because, right now they're really missing the Catholic community of being able to be together, of being able to really like share their faith with one another, because for all of them, it is very personal, but at the same time, it is a very community-based thing, and it is very, they love to have time together. They love to be able to share about what they've experienced and hear what other people have experienced, and to have that support network. And so, the biggest challenge is just, like I said, being able to get them together in a way that's safe, in a way that's effective, and in a way that, mimics some kind of normalcy for them, because right now things are so not normal that,
And we're social beings. We're meant to be together with each other, and it's true. There are helps that we have now, these Zoom encounters and all that, and that's all wonderful, well and good. Now, I try, but sometimes I push the wrong button and Zoom goes zooming away, But and it has its way, but there's nothing like personal contact. And I think you just get to appreciate people better. You get to read the personality, and you get to sense that they're alive with their faith. And just as you people are with trying to help them see that, you're a great inspiration, because they see you excited about the faith, and they quickly catch on, because nobody wants to be grumpy all the time. We get annoyed with each other if we were just that way. Father, he thinks I'm the biggest grump in the world, but we have to help each other just on that account. And look at herself over here. As soon as I talked about Father, she started smiling.
There you go.
But So that's the deal. Chase, what are your thoughts?
I kind of going off of what my wife said is that it really caught me off guard the first time I went to Extreme Faith Camp and I was asking the kids, what was your favorite part of Extreme Faith Camp? Expecting them to say, swimming or, one of the activities, and each one of them said adoration.
Oh, beautiful.
And that just caught me off guard. Because if I was a kid, I definitely would have said adoration. I'm a busy bee, I need to be doing something, but.
And if when I was a kid, I thought if they asked me how to spell it, that would be even worse.
Right? So yeah, that's always been one of the biggest joys, and I've really enjoyed, getting to know all the kids, and be, end up being friends with a lot of the kids too. That's always been really fun.
And how do you engage them? Give me a little example of some of the things you do.
Let's see. We do a lot of games that are just like silly games. Like we have one game that it has a really fun name because the kids named it, but they called it Icky Poo Poo, where they cover like a pop can in, I don't know, I think they've covered it in like lotion or like Vaseline or stuff, and they throw it around.
You gotta shake it up first.
You shake it up, and
This is
whoever
actually
drops
a good
it has to
creative.
drink it.
I'll come to the next class.
But like, just, the best way to engage them is we, unlike a lot of other parishes, I think from what I hear from other youth ministers, we're really boy heavy in our youth group. So that's been an adjustment for me and a blessing having Jace. We just kind of go with the crazy games a lot of the time. And from just doing that, from being willing to play the crazy games and do the crazy stuff, it opens a lot of, the trust into friendships. And then from that, we're able to do, the deeper conversations. And I think it's been a really big blessing having Jace and I both involved, because, for the girls, a lot of the girls will talk to me and I know how to engage them really well, and Jace knows how to engage all the boys really well. And so.
Oh, it's a wonderful and team teaching like that. It's also just good in general.
Yeah.
I think, because you get and you can hold a crowd for a while, and then they're looking elsewhere. So if you can just shift gears for a bit and you complement each other in the work you do. So that's wonderful.
And really engaging with them is really easy. If they're working on homework, you just say, "What are you working on?" They're so happy to tell you.
Yeah.
They complain about their teacher or whatever,
Oh, yeah.
or ask for help.
But they never complain about their pastor.
No, not ever. No, it's super easy to talk to them, ask them how they're doing, how their day was, and they're always happy to talk.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you can see, we're blessed with a wonderful team here, and yeah, definitely very much so. Maybe if you want to share for those who just aren't familiar with youth ministry in general, just ignoring COVID, obviously has affected everything and changed the dynamics of the world, and at youth ministry certainly as well. Do you want to share me what youth ministry looks like week to week, month to month? What kind of activities do you do with the kids? What outreaches? How do you program wise? What do you do?
Yeah, typically, we've had open youth room on Wednesdays that goes from after school to the start of faith formation, and that is really good for getting the FaceTime with a lot of the kids, not just the ones who are interested in the more like churchy stuff side of things. And that's really used as a tool to help the high schoolers bond with the middle schoolers and form like these mentorship type friendships. And it's also a great opportunity to advertise a lot of the other events that we have. So in a typical year, we would have Winter Blast in early December, which is an all-night lock-in at the Maple Grove Community Center that Father loves coming and hearing confessions for in the middle of the night. And that's always a really fun event for all the middle schoolers who come to kind of participate, and then high schoolers help lead it. Otherwise, we have a high school team that we call our core team that we partner with St. Ignatius, and all of the kids who serve on our core team are invited by Allie and myself to serve as leaders, and they work to kind of be the middle man kind of between Allie and myself and the middle schoolers, and to reach out to them at school, say hi to them in the hallways, personally invite them to events. And basically our whole year is spent kind of gearing up for Extreme Faith Camp and working to invite kids to come to that, because that's our big week-long event where we have all of our high schoolers on the core team leading small groups for our middle schoolers, and bringing them, through the week of learning. We start our week with mass every day, and we have all of the parish priests come out, I think the second day of camp, to hear confessions, and kind of prepping the kids for middle of the week. We have adoration with praise and worship music, and that's for a lot of the kids the first time that they really encounter Christ in a personal way. And that's kind of the high point of youth ministry in the year. And then the rest of our year is just spent on continuing those relationships and continuing to kind of listen to what the kids need to move them forward in their relationship with Christ, and continuing that ministry at home.
Yeah, and it seems very successful. A couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Father had me come up for when they were hearing confessions, and we went. And I thought we were going up the road, but where did we go?
McGregor, I think.
Yeah, Big
Oh,
Sandy
Big
Camp
Sandy.
and McGregor.
Yeah, I thought I was going to Winona or somewhere. It was that big of a drive, I think. And then we got there and it was raining and everything. But we got in and everybody was so excited, and they put on a little play at some point in the thing, or little skits that they put together. And then confessions, they came, and there were a number of priests there. So I was joking about it, because when Father took me, at that point I was having a problem with a little sciatica, and I said, I'm going to call this Extreme Unction Camp.
Yeah.
But it was really impressive just to see how the kids could relate with yourselves and the people that were the leaders, and then just hear some of those witnesses, for one of another word, when they got up and each talked a little bit and all. And so it was amazing what just getting together like that and working together can bring about. And a lot of fruit to it when you think about that.
Yep. And kids, the youth always have very high praise about Extreme Faith Camp. As some of you at home may know, they're always very excited about that, and can have a very life-changing experience for them. And I know many priests and seminarians attending Extreme Faith Camp and those kind of things. Speaking of seminarians, Alex Marquette says Monsignor Callaghan Nociolino says hi from the seminary.
Hello there, Alex. Tell them all we asked for them. And, you're still a youth, so you could get up and involved sometime with some of these kids. You were on it, I think, the one time I was there, and you're certainly involved in serving around here. But so we miss you, and Father wants to see you around, so make your presence felt.
That's great. So now one of the blessings with this new arrangement at St. Ignatius, as you mentioned, Balin, the core teams are combined and working together. And if you want to share more about that, how the youth ministry is working together with two parishes, and how they kind of interface in that way.
Yeah, so I think just in the last couple of years, well, when I first started, I think it was the second day of my job here, I found out we weren't going to be able to go to Extreme Faith Camp with the group that we had typically been going with. And I kind of accidentally ended up in the same Extreme Faith Camp group as St. Ignatius and a couple other parishes that are more local. And through that, it was just really kind of instantaneous, the really strong friendships that formed between the St. Tim's kids and the St. Ignatius kids. She's going to talk now too.
She wants to form a group.
But so when Allie got hired at St. Ignatius, it was kind of just natural. We started talking about doing more together because the kids were hanging out so much outside of youth ministry. So in partnering, it's been really nice because St. Ignatius is, do the trade-off. St. Ignatius is more girl heavy,
Yeah.
and we're more boy heavy. So it's been really nice to kind of bring the two groups together, because then we have high school girls from St. Ignatius who can help reach out to our middle school girls,
Great.
and vice versa. And it's, obviously been really great working with another youth minister. And
And that makes it grow.
yeah.
And that's a good thing. And new ideas are always great, because
Mhm.
you have all kinds of wonderful ideas, like your pastor here, all these ideas. But when you get others involved, we all have our gifts to bring.
Yeah.
So I think that's good. We never just want to let. We always want to try to keep growing the group.
Mhm.
And she's going to be loud in the group.
She's going to be the talker in the group.
So maybe, that's maybe a good segue. Obviously, you're a young parent, which is wonderful, and you want to talk about maybe some of the joys and challenges of being a parent as well as being a youth minister at the.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a lot of challenges having two little kids, and sometimes they have to tag along for things, and sometimes they stay home. But one of the really cool things has been how much the kids in youth group, really enjoy our kids. And this year I haven't been bringing our older son Whitley to anything. So all the kids, they came to the first open youth and like, "Where's Whitley? Why isn't he here? Like, I want to play with them." And Whitley misses all of them too. And so it's been kind of cool to have, Whitley has grown up in youth ministry to this point. And it's been really cool to see the way that the kids interact with him at things, and the way that they respond with Cora. And I think it's been nice too, like, just modeling to them what, parenthood can look like, and what having children can look like. And I know a while back we lost a baby at 20 weeks through the pregnancy, and that was really hard, really difficult. And coming back to work was actually, I was really nervous about it and really scared about, I'm gonna have to come back, and are the kids gonna acknowledge it? Am I gonna have to talk to the youth group about it? Like, just a lot of emotions coming into that. And it was really beautiful to see how just like pro-life all of the kids were, and how much they acknowledged that pregnancy and that baby that we lost, and just how really loving and how kind they all were. And in a way, after we'd been kind of supporting them through youth ministry, how a lot of the older kids wanted to support us back through that. And so that's been, there's little challenges with being a parent and doing youth ministry, but mostly it's all joy.
Yeah, and many graces too.
Mhm.
And you see that it's natural and supernatural too.
Mhm.
That this kind of relationship that develops, and they get, and how could they not, when you're in a group like that, and the little Corey here and so many children, not just come to appreciate what a gift life is, and that can bring joy just in itself. And that's why even in the Gospels, when Jesus was talking to the multitudes and the groups that would come, and so often as would be, there would be all kinds of kids around him. And you remember that one gospel story where he was speaking, and then these little children got up front and probably making noise and running around or wiggling through the crowd just to get there. And the apostles and disciples were trying to shoo them a bit. And he said, "No, let the little children come to me, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven." And then he said, "Unless you become like a little child." And it was because a child is so innocent and so beautiful and so full of life that you can't help but come to appreciate what life is, And look at Corey here. She wants to check out everything. Yeah. Now I'm going to get her crying. So, Dad, you're on.
Great. So Alex actually has a question for the two of you, and Jace will put you on the spot. Since, so it says, Father, could you ask what are the sort of goals or ideals that the youth group strives to instill in its members? So again, could you ask what are the sort of goals or ideals that the youth group strives to instill in its members?
Oh, geez, that's a hard one.
It is our one, yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah.
Thanks, Alex.
Alex likes to do that too.
I'm gonna phone a friend.
Yeah,
Honey.
Well, I think having gone through kind of faith formation, and I think a lot of the time we get the idea that you get to confirmation and that's your graduation a lot of the time. And so with youth ministry, what we really try to instill is the idea of lifelong discipleship. And that, you know, once you get confirmed, that's just basically like your toolkit is more complete than it was before. And now you can do all these, you know, new and amazing things. You can learn more. You can kind of respond and interact with the Holy Spirit in a new way. And, you know, that's the main thing that we hope for the kids, is that they come through the youth program knowing that, like, it's a never-ending road. Like, they're going to continue on. There's more to learn, more to do.
The gifts of the Holy Spirit are just that. They receive that in confirmation, having been prepared, and getting to know intellectually what that means. But now, with the youth group and with these other possibilities, it gives you the opportunity, you the young person, to come alive in your faith and take those gifts and not be afraid to talk about your faith with others, and not be afraid to tell people you're happy, and not to be afraid to challenge others that they could be doing a little better in their own growth in the faith. You know, so I think and that's what the gifts are for. But getting together and looking at people like yourselves, they can get that not only encouragement, but the confidence that they too can do it. She's going to have no trouble. What do you think?
So another question for you, Jace. Just for you. No, just looking at youth again, ignoring St. Timothy's, St. Ignatius, as wonderful as our youth are here. Just I think sometimes people in our society at large look at, or at least in the church world, I don't know, they. I'll put it this way: what do you see as some of the positives about the youth of today? We already talked a little bit about that earlier, but what do you see as, I guess, some of the positive things about this generation coming up, or what they have to offer, or where they're at in their faith, or I don't know where you want to get that, but just where's some positives or hope that you see in.
I guess what I see as a positive is that they're the youth that's upcoming, or, you know, however you want to say it, they want to know why. You know, they're not okay with just a kind of a blanket statement. They want a deeper understanding. They want, you know, they really want to understand things and ask really the deep questions and the ones that are hard to answer.
And inquisitive too.
Yeah.
They're searching for something. That is true. I've not met too many shy people at that age anymore. And they're very able to ask you and even put you a bit on the spot at times.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
And so it helps them, and it helps, you can help each other, because then you're not going to be ashamed or about talking about Jesus, or talking about the faith, or even inviting some of your friends who haven't been close to the church yet to get to church, you know.
Great. So obviously it's such a huge, important ministry for the parish, and just trying to pass on that faith to the next generation, help people come closer to Christ, that personal connection, personal relationship with the Lord, and obviously with other youth to support them. Such a huge part of our parish life and evangelization. I guess how if somebody wants to support the youth group at home, or how can they maybe help the youth group and help us to pass on that faith to our kids today?
I mean, the biggest thing, first and foremost, is to volunteer. That's the thing that's going to mean the most to the kids, and that's going to empower them to move into more mature roles in their faith and within the parish. You know, of course, like the monetary support is always great. It's always very much appreciated, and that's definitely an aspect that's needed to, help get kids to Extreme Faith Camp and get them to those big events. But I know in youth ministry, since I've been here, we've had one adult volunteer who is consistent and gives of himself constantly to be at things. He's come on a 14 camping trip. He's come to Extreme Faith Camp, I think almost every year I've been here. And the kids are pretty much obsessed with him. Like, they have chants for every time that they see him. They just think like he's the coolest person in the world because he's made himself present to them. He is given up his time to be there with them. And that, for the kids, is huge. It's what shows them that they matter to the rest of the parish. It's what shows them that, like, youth group isn't just an isolated thing, that they matter on a larger scale.
I think too, we all have to lead by example. We want them to be involved in the church. We all also have to be involved in the church and give our time. We want them to give their time.
Perfect.
And I think in fathers, I think constantly getting over to the school and getting to these different places, and that's where people get to see. And then when he puts the arm out on you and say, "I need you for this," you're a little less. How would you say? I won't say afraid. You just kind of say, "Okay, Father," but you don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
And it's because you've come to know that your priest is there for you and loves you and wants to make the thing grow. So I think that's an important thing too, because you picked it out so well. They can't be isolated groups over here running their own little program, because that's not a community. So we have to all have a part to it. And I remember asking years ago Mother Teresa one time, well, I asked her the first time, do you have older people in your community? She said, "Well, I'm the oldest." So I thought, well, I better not ask too many more questions. And she said, "But what we do with our older sisters," I said, "But," she said, "No, but we don't have a place for the mother house." She said, this was Mother Teresa, "I always felt that as we get older, you have something to add to your own community that you're in." So she tried her best to keep senior sisters and younger sisters all together, and they can help each other, because it makes it a family kind of experience. And that's what the community is supposed to be, a parish community, faith community. We all, when you're young and dynamic and all, older people get excited about just seeing that the excitement on your part. And then, but they also appreciate when young people come and visit them, especially some of the elderly who wouldn't have an opportunity to easily to get into visit a youth group, or come visit. But whenever we get out of COVID here and things like that, you can always do something like that. Have a visit to some of these places and visit people, or even just call them on the phone and a couple of them say hello, wish them well for whatever holiday. There's all those kind of ideas that helps keep the family together. So, so I think there's some wonderful ideas. Yeah.
Yeah, we're getting close to the end of the time here, so I don't know, just checking in, I guess. Anything that we didn't cover that you want to share, or just thoughts, again, whether about youth ministry as a general big picture vocation, or whether about St. Timothy's, I guess anything, open forum in a sense, anything you want to share, Balin or Jace?
How do you think, how has this experience helped you in your own personal faith?
Oh, well, that kind of leads back to how much this younger generation, they question things.
Yeah.
And for me, being such a new Catholic, I've only been Catholic for almost 5 years, 6 years. I don't remember. When they ask me questions, I don't want to just give them something random or whatever. Right. So I try and do my research and get back to them with a good answer of either asking Balin or asking Father.
If you ask Father, you'll get a long answer.
Yeah.
But no, I think you're right, and people they also see by that you're taking a particular interest in them, because they've asked you a question and you just don't give a perfunctory answer. And if you don't have something right away, say, "I'll get back to you on that." And that's I think a real good way to approach it all. Now, the other thing I'd say about that, you as leaders, and this happens kind of naturally too when you have in the group, they come to lean on you a bit or trust you in that way, and it becomes a good thing for you too, because you know that they're relying on you for something more than just entertainment. Okay? That they could come to you and ask a question if they need it, or they could come to you and tell them something that's on their heart if you need it, and that's part of the growth there. And so fathers, I think he's telling me that we're getting close to the end of our time here. But you know what? I think we always end with a prayer. But the prayer tonight, I just said, lean on me. And that was how we could look what we're trying to do with the Lord, what we call us, to lean on Him for whatever we need and not be afraid. And even in these times that could be turbulent times, or even in this pandemic, sometimes we feel alone, or no, we have all of our people around. We're making the efforts to still stay in contact. But with the leaders like yourselves, these younger people are lean on you for just a good example, and also to inspire them to be courageous, you know. So, Father, you remember that song?
I do. Yep.
He's good on these songs, you know. You might remember it. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Please swallow your pride if I have faith. You need to follow. Oh, no one can feel those of your needs. Then you won't let show. Just call on me, brother, when you take a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on your dad. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need somebody to lean on. Lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. I'll help you carry on. Oh, it won't be long till I'm gonna need somebody to lean on. Just call on me, brother, when you take a hand. We all need somebody to lean on. I just might have a problem that you understand. We all need